Can you tell us what they are?
I don't really wanna cry now. I'm over getting high and feeling low.
Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Kaguya. So this video is going to be kind of hard for me to make because I've never actually been able to give like full-on tips about a certain topic. I know that I did a video on like, you know, what was more important in sumo, and I basically gave tips on how to do in sumo, but that's sumo. That's not in... I don't think you could really use those tips very well in any other game, but I mean obviously you can, because I talked about the clicking and the W and like in the tapping and the aiming and stuff like that in the settings, but really I was only talking about stuff that, you know, you would need for sumo, because I'm pretty sure that some people use different settings for like different game modes, like me, because I use settings for sumo and then settings for any other game mode. But I was kind of putting off this video because I kind of wasn't educated enough on high ping, on PvP with high ping. But I did get the idea to make this video from a comment in one of my videos asking if I could give tips on how on like, you know, on how to PvP with high ping and stuff like that. And like I said, I was putting off this kind of video because I didn't know much, so I had to get educated on like the different tips. So most of these tips are coming from DiversityPVP's video. I'll leave a link to his video just so that you guys can get a more understandable way of learning the tips, and also so that you can actually see a better demonstration. This is a pretty good time to record this video because it's 3 o'clock in the morning for me, so a lot of EU people are going to be on, or like a lot of people from you know, on the other side of the world are going to be on. So for me, since I'm a sumo player, I would be going into sumo, and it doesn't really matter if I die. It's really just like, hey, I'm giving tips. So essentially, oh my god, that's loud. Okay, we got that fixed. All right, so the first tip here is basically, it has to do with aiming. So when it comes to high ping, you basically need to try to aim at the person you're fighting for as long as you possibly can to avoid from missing hits due to lag. And like, I mean, so honestly, some of these tips are going to be kind of copied word for word because I kind of didn't know how to put it in my own words. So like pretty much all this credit goes to Diversity, because he's a freaking genius. Yeah, so basically you would just need to keep your crosshair on your opponent for as long as you possibly can, because you're most likely going to end up missing some hits due to lag. So to prevent that, you would basically need to keep your aim on that person. Jesus Christ, it looks so weird. So as a quick demonstration, I'm probably going to die, but you know. So basically, just kind of keep your crosshair on the on your opponent, and it should work. So the next tip is primarily for no debuff, and I'm pretty sure the rest of these tips are gonna be for no debuff, but you can also implement some of these, some if not all of these tips, into other game modes as well, if you have high ping. So the next tip is basically to play passively. I can't really say like what might happen if you play aggressively. My guess is you lose pots faster. You're most likely going to end up panicking, or your adrenaline's going to end up going up higher. You're going to end up missing more pots, and your aim is just going to be all wacko if you don't have like solid aim. But if you do, then that's a different story. But essentially, just play passively. Just make sure to save your pearls in order to pearl away and eat, or pearl away and refill if you have to, because whenever you have high ping, you're not basically aggro pearling is kind of not gonna work in your favor as much as like people with a little bit with like ping on the mid to lower side. Whenever it comes to tapping, if you have low ping, then S tapping and W tapping are gonna work just as good as the other. I'll be like I said in the sumo video, S tapping is gonna have a lot more consequence if you mess it up. I had to learn that the hard way. So with whenever it comes to high ping, W tapping is kind of your best friend. Yeah, it's basically most recommended, because it will give you, it gives you the most amount of KB to the other person, and it gives you the highest possible reach. That's actually legit. It also opens up your chances on getting some pretty big combos, and it also increases your chances of winning most trades. As for potting, and I know I'm still in sumo, but I can't be asked to go into my main club because it's under maintenance. As for potting, you're gonna want to make sure to I'm pretty sure now this is obviously this is all obviously solely for no debuff. But if you're potting, you're gonna want to make sure to sort of take your time with it, and don't double pot. Don't spam it either. I just kind of messed myself up there. Yeah, don't double pot, don't spam it. The recommended time to pot is whenever you're around 5 to 6 hearts. Based on the level, it can vary. If some people can get the pots right, you can pop from 2 to 3 hearts. And then if you're not really that solid on potting, then 5 to 6 hearts. And also pot conserving is basically your best friend. You can't really afford to waste pots whenever you have high ping, because most likely the pots aren't really going to connect very well, and it's basically kind of mess you up a little bit. Oh yeah, also don't pot when you're getting back slapped. That means basically for those of you that don't know what that means, getting back slapped is when you're running away to go and pot, the person keeps on hitting you to get extra hits, and sometimes engages in a combo. You're most likely gonna end up hitting a lag spike. The pot's not gonna hit you. You're gonna die, and most likely the pot's not gonna hit. You're just gonna get a lot less hearts, and you're gonna have to pot again, thus wasting pots that could have easily been saved. And the fifth and final tip sounds a little bit hypocritical. Backslap people. Like I said earlier, it gives you more hits, and it also gives you a chance to engage in a combo. That's very much needed. So that's honestly really all the tips there are. I encourage you all to let me know some more tips if you have any. I know that I definitely didn't cover all of them because I really only got my tips from Diversity's video. That's why I gave him complete credit of this entire video. But if you do have any more tips on PvPing with high ping, I'm more than happy to read them in the comments. Go ahead and drop them down there below. And with that being said, I'm sorry if this was a little bit confusing. I kind of can't commentate and PvP at the same time. That's why I pause a lot and stutter. I'm sorry, dude. So I will leave his link down in the description, as well as his channel. He's so much bigger than I am, but regardless, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, please make sure to give him a sub. But yeah, my name's KaguyaUwU, and I'll see you guys in this video. Peace.
Running out of time, baby, help me. I'm bringing down my